Welcome back to another episode of the Emergent Gamer Podcast, episode 289. I'm one of your hosts, Neo Yoshi, joined by Trip Zero.
What's going on, guys? It's Trip Zero.
Lock and Key.
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
And Felix Good.
Hey!
Hey, boys. Before we get started, if you didn't know, we are the Emergent Gamer Podcast. Find us on podcast services around the globe, as well as YouTube. Get us on YouTube, subscribe. We're pretty much at 100 subscribers. We'll get our super sweet vanity link, and then you don't need to type in a bunch of numbers to find us. So please get on that.
It's true. He's telling the truth.
Thank you. Like and subscribe, all those things. We love to see it. Write us reviews. We love reading them. Thank you.
We do love reading reviews.
We do. We love it. Boys, what is up?
Nothing much, man. I just secured lock in Gilded, so I'm pretty excited about that. Just created a username.
Gilded, you say?
I mean, sorry. I was just doing it right
what
now.
Is Gilded?
No, it's pretty excited. Pretty excited about that one.
You know, you normally don't get your normal name in things anymore. You know what I mean?
Do you know what I had? I had so fun fact, if you didn't know, my real name is Peter. I had Peter on Discord, like at Peter. I was on Discord that early. Then
Peter.
I gave it up for Zero. He knew that. Shut up. Gave it up.
It's funny to see
Zero. And now I was like, what if I just go back to this? And of course, it's gone. But yeah, I had my name. I felt like
that's great.
You know.
Yeah. That's good. That's
so
hard to do.
What is Gilded? For anyone who doesn't know out there, what is Gilded?
Gilded is another chat application geared towards gamers. It's essentially Discord. When I'm looking at the app side by side, the untrained eye would not know the difference of what app they were in. To be honest with you, they look almost identical.
I can get
downloaded
Peter on Gilded right now.
but I downloaded it just to see what it was like because I've heard a few positive things. We're not going to really get into it tonight, but there's some rumblings that Microsoft may purchase Discord, or that a few companies are in talks to purchase Discord. So there's been a lot of conversation on the internet about, will Discord, get ruined and become Skype or something, or will it be integrated with Microsoft Teams one day or something? Who knows? Possibilities are endless if Microsoft were to buy it. So Gilded is something that came up as an alternative, and I haven't heard one negative thing about Gilded on the internet, which is surprising. I've only heard positive things, so I figured I would download it and look at it and just see. So I was just doing that in the pre-show.
I just loaded it up as well. It looks like literally like Discord.
Yeah, their UI designer was like, let's not waste time recreating the wheel here. Let's copy literally everything.
It's that meme that's like copy my homework, but like change a little bit, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could tell that like this.
Weird.
You could tell that it was, that it's changed just enough that they won't get in trouble. You know what I mean? But it's like
just enough.
But it is, it's very, very similar. But yeah, I downloaded it to mess around with. I mean, we're not going anywhere yet. Discord's still our baby. We love Discord. But can't hurt to check it. Can't hurt to check out another platform just to see what. It's actually pretty good to have because sometimes Discord has problems when we're trying to game and voice chat goes down, and this would be a cool little alternative thing to do group chats with or group audio with in those events. But
I remember that time we were raiding in Destiny and Discord went down, and we were like, let's use Steam's group chat, and that was like a mess.
Oh, it was brutal.
It was awful.
It was brutal. I guess the other thing you could do is now you could do the Xbox game chat. You could do party chat through the Xbox app, I think, now.
And does that connect through PC and Xbox?
I don't know, to be honest with you, because I haven't tried, but I think it exists. But yeah, I mean, it would be a cool thing to have it as a backup. I mean, we would need to create a whole server to do it, but yeah. So Gilded, check it out, I guess, if you're interested in seeing a Discord clone.
It's funny how the news this week that Discord may be acquired, and then all of a sudden now we're at least I'm hearing about this. I don't know if this is coincidence or not, but this is
I mean,
weird.
It came up right after the news, the rumored news came out, all I saw over my Twitter feed was people saying, "Hey guys, if you want an alternative to Discord for the future, here's an app that everyone loves," and it was repeatedly this application. So, yeah. It shows how much. It shows how much people don't trust Microsoft with applications, huh?
Yeah, like this is Skype. They killed Skype, kind of.
Oh my god, that video that got shared in our Discord the other day of the fake video of the Skype CEO. Did you see that? Did you see that?
I did.
I'm not seeing this one. What is this?
It's who posted? Someone posted it. Fuck, is it in tech chat? It's in one of our chats, but it's like a meme video of some guy like pretending to be the Skype CEO, and he's on an interview and he's just fucking screaming into the microphone like about Zoom and why Zoom's a thing when Skype was there first, and he doesn't understand why nobody uses Skype and everyone's using Zoom. It's honestly it's hilarious.
I'll have to go back and watch that after the show.
It was really funny. I have to figure out I think it was Wiggles that posted it, but I can't remember where he actually posted it.
Who was the guy? The guy that was?
It's just some internet. I don't really know.
Oh,
I watched the video.
It's not like
it was in Warzone chat because that gets pretty.
It's not like a Microsoft guy or something who's upset about it.
It's like college humor style.
Yeah,
it's like kind of. But either way, what are you guys playing? What are you guys up to? Locke.
Well,
I haven't played anything new.
Great,
to be honest
Felix.
with you.
No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, I mean the only thing that I did.
I got stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I spent the majority of this past week watching the Valorant Masters tournament. That was happening. It's just like one of the top Valorant competitive events.
So the dudes are like making you like fucking salivate because they're that good.
They are very, very good. It's honestly very hard to comprehend how good those guys are, but it was just really fun to watch. I mean, Neo and I have had a blast playing Valorant. We haven't played in a long time, probably together or separate. But Jay's actually back into it full time. Jay's been playing solo like almost every night, he said, and he's been loving it. And he's been trying to get me and Nimbus to hop back in. So I've been thinking about it.
Were there any female masters? Just curious. Random question.
I don't think there are. There may be one full female team, but I don't think they were in the tournament. And they do it for every country. Like there's a few different countries that run in it. So there's like an NA, there's an EU. So I spent time watching that, and there was this funny video that was posted on Twitter recently of 100 Thieves is one of the, it's a big esports organization. Their coach was getting in a fight through voice chat with some referee because in a prior tournament, the referee or whoever runs the tournament ruled against a team in a certain situation, and then 100 Thieves was in the same situation for this tournament, and they did not get the same ruling. So it's this 5-minute clip of their coach arguing, and it's all about ping and network latency. And it was hilarious to watch, and like all the players are behind them because they're playing in like the 100 Thieves combo.
It's like a real sport. It's like a real sport.
I mean,
the coach
that's a moment.
Yes.
That's a moment to be definitive. Like, oh look, it's real now.
Yeah, and people all over the clip were like, this is how esports coaches need to be. Like, this is exactly what it is. Yes. And they're like the guy's literally arguing, and he's like, to whoever he's talking to, I have no idea who he's talking to. I didn't do enough research, but he's like, if you knew anything about gaming and you knew anything about network latency, you would know someone that has 8 millisecond ping has an advantage over someone that has a 60 millisecond ping. It's not fair. You need to reverse the ruling. And it's just a fucking argument back and forth about fucking ping. It's so funny.
That's amazing.
It's so funny because in that type of game, peaker's advantage is a real thing, and someone that has 8 ping versus 60 ping, that person with 8 ping can peak before the person with
advantage
has a severe advantage.
Yeah, I learned the hard lesson of that playing Battlefield, because you can actually
Sure.
see your ping when you're getting ready to start a match or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Most,
this was
most
before,
games you can.
this was before I had
And
upgraded.
it's a hard.
Well, I was
Sorry,
going to say
keep going.
this was before I had upgraded myself to gigabit internet, and I had, dude, Locke, I think I had close to 200 ping. And
That's
I was
awful.
dying all the
Ugh.
time. I was dying all the time. And somebody was like, "It's your
That
ping,
would
bro. It's your ping. Will you look at it?" I'm like, "What the fuck is ping?"
Other people, you would have looked like a dude just like kind of skating
Rubber
around the map.
Rubber banding.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just like-
yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. The only thing that gigabit internet does for you that helps you is it does improve your latency, right? Like your gigabit speeds do nothing for you for gaming. The only thing that really matters in gaming is your latency. Which if you're not hardwired, you should be. Pro tip for anyone that's playing over Wi-Fi if you're trying to play a
I, w-
competitive
I wish I
shooter.
could play over hardwire.
So going to
but-
gigabit internet did nothing for me.
No, it did. If it improved your latency, I don't know. I mean, I have obscenely good latency when I play Valorant or most shooters. But I'm also hardwired. But in any case, yeah, it was really cool to watch that like go down, especially when I was watching the tournament. And yeah, so hopefully maybe I'll jump back into Valorant. But outside of that, yeah, I haven't really. I've only been playing. I got back into Destiny a little bit. Trip and I played Trials over the weekend. I played a little bit of Iron Banner today, and did some power grinding stuff in Destiny. But outside of that, nothing new. Still going through Valhalla, but nothing new to really report there. So Felix, what do you got for us?
I have two things. One, I'll get to in a second, the actual game I played. But Neo posted this like in the Emerging Gamer Discord. He goes, "They finally posted a roadmap for Fallout." And no, it's not finally. It's their second roadmap. They had one in 2019. They didn't post one in 2020.
Felix couldn't wait to be like,
we literally discussed like 2 or whatever weeks ago that
I was
they
waiting.
didn't have a 2021 route.
That's what I was waiting for. Yeah, I really was.
And that's literally what I was going. Felix, look, today is the day. The roadmap is here.
I am so glad you posted that because I would have never known.
how would you
That's
never
why I
know?
picked you.
You don't watch your own game's roadmap?
Somebody would have fucking posted it. I don't know.
It was me. I did it.
He did.
posted it. No,
It was
Neo
me,
did.
Austin.
they literally like announced like these are all the things we're gonna do in 2021, and like one of them was like, hey, here are your.
Well, I was going to rattle them off. Here's some basic highlights, which I
One of
think
them was your most requested feature.
the thing we knew about the most, which we kind of guessed was coming next, was the special loadouts. That's really cool.
Yes, that's
The way that's going to work is it's going to work as an actual item that's at every train station, like a they're doing it like a punch card for like a job. It's a punch card machine. So you can go to any train station in the game and there's a punch card and you go there and you can just change your loadout. Like you can preset it and load it. So if you want to do a melee build and you want to do a gun build, you can have the max right now is 2. With more to come, my guess is they're going to be transacted, but I'm not really sure.
Yep.
They also might be done through leveling within the game. We have no idea. But the cool thing about that is you can craft it into your camp. So you can get that as something you can craft in your camp. So you don't actually have to do it at the train stations. You can do it in your own camp. And which is really cool because now there's going to be camp slots also in the spring. So camp slots means if you have one camp, you can have 3 or 4 more, and you can just rotate through them. You can only set one camp at a time. You can't like set 3 camps around the map, but it's pretty cool. Like if you have a camp design,
like an example would be you might want to switch over the scene. Oh no, he's back.
No, he came back.
So an example would be that one camp is like, this is like my crafting camp.
Right.
This is my sleep. This is like my like settlement camp. Like you could have like different themes for your camps essentially.
You could, yeah. So if you're that style of player where you have this idea where you want to make like a vanity camp where you put like a buddy I play with named Kyle. Kyle has a major vanity camp. There's nothing practical about anything in his camp. He has all this shit. He's added it in. He's turned it into like a work of art, right? he could also now have a practical version of that where he doesn't have to load that every time. He could load something entirely practical that just has the bare necessities. Or there are people that like to choose more than one location around the map to load camps. Or sometimes you run into this problem. You load your camp into a public server and some asshole who also loads his camp there is already there. So if you have 3 or 4 camp designs, you could just load one that's on another side of the map, and then you don't have to be booted from that server. So camp slots is a cool concept. Will I get into it crazy? Probably not. I probably won't even fuck with camp slots, to be honest.
That's something that I would get into because I like the building and designing of like a home, a house, a hangout, or something in these games that have like any semblance of crafting.
Yeah, there's a whole subset of players who are obsessed with the new vault tools that they built, where you can build these elaborate vaults. Like people have created like trap vaults where you go in and you got to do like a like a Saw type like survival thing.
Oh,
like,
wow, dude!
People have done all kinds of
honestly.
crazy shit with that, but that part of the game is not my bag. I don't know.
Now's your moment, Trip. Time to get into Fallout 76.
Oh god,
no,
dude,
I'm not
I can't
suggesting that.
Yeah, look, at this point, the game sounds great. It sounds like they've added a whole lot to it. I just can't take on another like
service
game that's on the internet onto my shoulders in any capacity. Anything that has to like I just I have just anxiety thinking about it. I have too much shit to do.
So
too much shit to do.
If this was a game that any of you guys played on a regular basis, like you actually played it, the one feature that I think Locke of all the people here would probably enjoy would be what is called Daily Ops. Daily Ops is cooperative, but you have to go in and accomplish something that's more of a challenge with multiple people, and you have to coordinate yourself. You know, it's not very complicated like in Destiny. You don't have to like figure out what switches to move or anything like that. It's just fighting a bunch of buffed enemies, basically. So you got to go in, you fight buffed enemies, you got to do it together. People have to coordinate their efforts. They got to figure out where shit is. That's probably the one feature that Locke would enjoy. They are amping up the ante on that and making that 2 to 3 times harder. So it's not going to be easy. Cool. I can't go in and solo it. Which I could. I got to the point where my character's powerful enough and I've been able to solo that. That's daily. They're changing it. It's going to be in new locations. It's going to be all over the map. It's going to be pretty great.
I'm calling it your community. Your community meaning like the Fallout 76 community as a whole. Do you have people in there that people watch that like solo that content? Like I know you said you can't solo it, but is there someone that is going to try to solo it? I'm saying you can.
No, I'm saying you can solo it now. They're amping it up in the spring to make it so it's not soloable.
Yeah. No, I know, but like, is there someone that you know is like the go-to person for like attempting to solo that really hard content and stuff like that? Are there
like
people
a,
that do
like a streamer who's like
I don't think the game has
it,
that kind of meta yet to produce that. I'm sure there's a Fallout streamer that. Like that will be produced when this becomes really hard, this daily op shit. Where you have to do it with 4 people, you're going to have some streamer out there who always wants to try it alone and try and do it and all that shit. But
yeah, the challenge angle.
But all of that is those 3 main things are what they're overhauling in the spring. They're also doing something, and I don't know what any of these are, but Camp Mannequins console aim assist. You guys could speak to that.
Camp Mannequins?
I don't know what that is. And then, yeah, like, I guess
aim assist is aim assist.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, but putting, I guess you could put clothes on mannequins to, like, I don't know, to present your clothes that you found in the game. I don't fucking know.
You know,
like in Skyrim. No, like in Skyrim, like how you can, like,
right. Yeah, like, and they have
mount your gear and stuff.
They have that. They have mounts, and they have like cases you can put guns into and all that shit. So that's probably what it is. Yeah, just put clothing that you found.
That's a cool feature.
And then something that I have to research more. I don't know what it is. It's called crafting sliders. I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's got your favorite hot button term.
The word
I know. It's got your you love sliders, Felix.
So after that's all in the spring. After that, there's a summer reveal that's going to have, I think, more story content and legendary crafting. My ability to craft legendary weapons, which I've been wanting since the fucking game began, to be able to like just craft legendary weapons. And then legendary power armor, which doesn't exist. So,
dude, if I could craft a gun that I'm looking for in Destiny,
I would love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Think about how good it was when you used to be able to re-roll. When you used to be able to re-roll your guns.
I know, dude. Like,
Yeah.
Like I used to spend all my time at the gunsmith or whatever he was at that time. I don't even remember what he was. He the gunsmith?
the
Still?
gunsmith, yeah.
And I remember getting the perfectly rolled sniper. I forget what sniper it was at this point, but like the fact that that doesn't exist is fucking mind blowing to me.
I know.
Also, the fact that it took this long for Fallout 76 to be able to craft a gun is also fucking mind blowing to me.
No, we can craft guns. We can't craft
legendary guns.
Well, okay,
guns
great,
with legendary
But, I mean, what the-
perks on them.
Let's who can stop? First of all, don't defend them, Felix.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
First of all, honestly, please don't defend them. It's okay that you enjoy it.
He doesn't
but,
want to
like,
upset Todd. Okay, let him let him be there.
so you could craft guns before, but you couldn't craft legendaries, and now
No.
they're going to release it as a feature. Cool, bro. That's cool.
Is a
for
legendary
starters.
like an exotic in my parlance?
A legendary is exactly like an exotic. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. That's what it is. It's and moreover, added to the game, which I don't know will be crafted, but this is winter. This isn't during the summer. This isn't over the summer, but next winter, you're going to be able. There's 4-star legendaries are going to be in the game, which right now the max the legendary stars are 3. So
Okay.
that I can only guess because there's more story content that to go with the 4-star legendaries, there's going to be boss fights in the game that are impossible. Shit that you're going to need a lot of people for, and you're going to need 4-star legendary weapons to accomplish it. So, but yeah, that's the summary of what they did, what they announced.
The biggest thing I take away from this roadmap is I'm really glad that they are still actively making this game better. Like that is like a relief.
And just
that
like with
they would
Destiny's
release
Q,
games and, like, still work on it.
yeah, and just like with Destiny's Q, adding seasonal content made the world richer. It made the experience of playing it much more richer, which I was surprised with. I can't believe that. When I heard that seasonal content was coming, I was like, "Oh, this is just a rip of like Destiny. It's just going to be fucking annoying." It's not. Like now that the season went away and I beat it or completed it, like I got bored of the game. I'm like, I want more seasonal content, and now I'm just waiting
That's how,
for the next
that's how
season.
Destiny
to
is
fucking
too.
come, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Destiny Destiny's done a really good job with their seasonal content over the past few seasons. I mean, like this season is actually very good. I'm not playing it for other reasons, but it's not because that we're in a season. I'm tired. I'm tired of games being shipped with features that should exist. So like I'm quite frankly overhearing about Fallout 76 and the things that they're releasing when they should have been shipped with it. The same way that I'm over Destiny releasing features and bug fixes that like
got it
shouldn't be there anymore or should have existed and they're now being sold to me like they're this fucking new crazy thing that shouldn't have been there from.
It's the spin that matters.
It has nothing to do with you or you playing the game or,
I know.
or the game itself. It's just it's the developers saying, "Ooh, look at this new shiny thing that you're now going to get in 3 months." You know, it's the like we're getting rid of fucking sword peeking in Trials, but not now. Not next season, but the season after that. So you hang your hat on that for the next 4 months.
You got a whole new system. Just you wait. It's gonna be great.
I'm over it. I just want to go back to where I bought a cartridge in a box and I played the cartridge and that was the game. That's what I want.
You are speaking Kevin O's language.
Okay, so
Tired of
I don't want to steal everyone's show, so we can move on. But all I'm going to say is, why didn't you guys tell me that every single female character in fucking Final Fantasy VII Remake gives you bedroom eyes every time they're going to just talk to you? What the fuck, dude?
About.
I think the answer to this is a wider response about how Japan sees the world and things like that.
We next week. Let's stop. Let's not do this.
No,
now.
I'm not going into it now.
Next week, I want to hear if you've been playing this. We need to be talking. Like, why did we just talk about Fallout 76?
Yeah, why did we talk about? I just completely forgot that you were playing this game.
Yeah,
it was definitely a much more interesting conversation.
Yeah, next week that's what we're going to talk about.
We do not need to talk about it.
Let's move on from him. Yeah, let's move on from him for now. And next week we're going to talk about it.
Love it.
Okay.
Bedroom eyes.
Listen, it's fine.
I do want to have a conversation about it.
I mean, if you guys don't want to talk, we can listen to Felix. We can listen to Felix.
I'll tell you what I've been doing. I've been playing more Super Mario 3D World, and that's like what I've been doing. Go ahead, Felix. Talk about Final Fantasy stuff.
No, because Trip, didn't you want to talk about Metal Gear?
I did want to talk about
I want to talk about
Okay,
that
we
too.
also want to hear.
Metal
Okay,
Gear,
so
yeah.
let's hear about Metal Gear. We'll,
Yeah,
we'll
let's
have a
hear
whole
about Metal
Felix
Gear.
conversation next week. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep playing
So-
Final Fantasy Remake.
I'll be further in it then. I
Right,
love
he'll have more time. He'll
Yeah,
get
you
more
will.
more in
Yeah,
depth,
you will.
more perspective. I loved your text the other night, Felix. We were just weird. He texted me a couple questions. I got off streaming. I answered him. He said he already got a response. We just chatted about some other stuff. It was
I'm
good,
actually
man. I'm excited
surprised.
just playing
Like,
the game.
let me just say this, Locke. This is one
Mhm.
thing.
Sure.
One thing.
From all these years of hearing you guys talk about Final Fantasy, and this might not be true of every single game. This might be just true of this game. But like, I was actually surprised at. I thought it was going to be much more dense menu-wise and tough for me to understand. I literally thought it was going to be like this crazy dense menu, and that I
Yeah.
wouldn't get
So-
it. But I
so
got
there's
it
a few-
very quickly. I picked up on it. I had to look up
So there's
maybe two things.
There's a few things that I would say to that statement. One, you're playing a brand new game, right? Like
that is
a
true.
brand new remake, right? So that's one. Two, menus and leveling systems change by the game.
Yeah,
So
I
the
heard
way that
I
Final
heard
Fantasy
that.
VII does it is like when I first played Final Fantasy X, I got halfway through the game and I fucked up the skill tree so bad that I had to completely redo my save because
Damn.
my skill trees were so crossed because I had no
Oh,
idea
yeah.
what I was doing at the time that like I gimped my own characters to the
Dude.
fact where I got to a boss fight that I barely beat and it took me so long to beat that like I just restarted the entire game. So my point being is that like if you go and play like an older Final Fantasy, some of them may be more difficult to pick up, but I don't think they're the most complicated games to get used to. I think there's more complicated games menu wise.
Right,
Yeah.
I was actually that was refreshing. So
I think if you can understand this 7 remake menu, like you're gonna be fine because you'll at least have like a touch point, and it's honestly on a comparable level, like complicated wise to the original, for sure.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
all right. Well,
Yeah, and I mean, I think you've played enough games now that have adopted a menu system similar. Like back then, Final Fantasy were one of the only games doing the things that they did. Now you have such a crossover of shooters having menu systems and Fallout existing having menu systems. Like it just
Even
it didn't
Assassin's
exist
Creed.
then.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They're
right,
doing
exactly.
crazy skill
Right?
trees, right?
Like
Yeah.
you rewind back to Final Fantasy 7 at its time or even earlier, like they were pretty complex because they were one of the few games I'd imagine that were doing what they were doing versus like a side scrolling platformer, right? So
exactly.
I think you're going into it with way more knowledge now than you would have been if you played it years and years and years ago.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah, well, I'll give you guys updates next week. So
Yeah,
please do.
can't wait to hear about
Please
it.
do.
Hell yeah, you will.
Okay.
Hell yeah, you
Trip.
will.
So, on a whim this week, looking for something to play before bed, I fired up Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
Yeah,
Now-
you did.
I have played every other game in the series, including Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, which is the prologue to this game. Takes place 9 years before. And I don't know. I always wanted to like have the perfect moment to start the game. I wanted to appreciate it. I wanted like it was such a thing in my mind that I built up on this pedestal that I just never ended up doing it. And then I was just scrolling through, and I was like, I was probably gonna play the Final Fantasy VII remake because I'm on another playthrough as well, just for fun. But I'm watching this. I'm looking on my PlayStation. I'm like, I don't really feel like doing that. What can I play? I'm in the library. I'm looking. Then I see the Phantom Pain, which I forgot I scooped for free from the PlayStation Network when it was a free game at some point.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect vibe that I want to be in right now. I just want to like have a game that I can like sink my teeth into, like a new experience, but also like a game that's like half movie. I'm definitely feeling that before I go to sleep. That I know is going to be like a whole movie for the hour or so that I played. But yeah, I fired it up, and I, honest to God, was not ready for that intro. And it's not for. There's a couple reasons for it, but I honestly, and I'm amazed that I'm going to say this, but I think the intro was a little bit like too much almost in terms of like what they put your character through and you through as the player mentally.
You're literally like working your way through a nightmare.
And I'm gonna
it's a lot. It really is a lot.
spoilers. We're gonna just flat out spoil this.
2015
for us
game
on the show
You
for
missed
the
your chance.
for the people listening to the show. I apologize, but the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain is going to be spoiled in detail. Long story short, your character, you wake up out of a coma, and you being the player, you don't really know much about what's going on either. I haven't played Ground Zeroes, and literally, there's Neo's got his little hand,
My Metal Gear hand.
I hadn't played Ground Zeroes in a ton of time, so I wasn't super like updated on what happened to put him in this coma. So I really felt connected to this character and this experience, right? Like for all intents and purposes, that was me. I'm being educated about the world as you wake up, as you come to, you look around the world. They got this like banging 80s song playing as it starts. It's very Kojima. I was very into that moment, right? And then you start learning about, you're in a coma for 9 years and everything, and like you panic and pass out again and wake up again. The doctor's doing his thing. But then eventually like, you hear that you're like a target, which would make sense. You're like Big Boss, this like legendary soldier at this point after the plots of, Metal Gear Solid 3 and onward. And then the people in your hospital room start getting assassinated. Like people are like slitting the throats of the doctors and nurses around you. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is like aggressive. And like you fall off the bed and you see someone get like strangled and their throat like ripped open by like a cord. And that body
he gets in there with that camera too.
Like, I know. And I'm on the ground in the fucking hospital room. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, that's a lot. That's very aggressive. And then like we escape, me and like some friendly person in the room. We escape out of that hospital room as the hospital starts like being under siege. Right. And this is not a siege that's done like other video games are done. This felt like I was in the middle of like a shooting. And like I had this moment before. It's going to take a turn down to serious land, and I apologize for that. But I had this experience before. Like we had 2 recent shootings this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 2 legitimate real life shootings. But I was thinking before these even happened that I felt like I was like a victim of a shooting or trapped somewhere where that is happening. And I know that may possibly sound insensitive. I don't mean it to, because I can't experience like 1% of what these people truly experience.
That scene literally captures the feeling of being helpless in a situation where you really have no way of defending anything.
Yeah, you're a hospital patient. You don't have a limb. You've got a pincer on your limb at this point. You don't have a gun like you don't normally do in Metal Gear. You're crawling because your legs don't work. They've been atrophied. And like there are soldiers around you slowly moving through the hallways, putting bullets in people's bodies to make sure they're dead. There's a sequence where you have to like hide inside of the curtain hospital bed separators as they're opening them up one by one to shoot whoever's in there. And you have to like miss them by milliseconds. And I'm sitting here like playing this game like I'm really going to die. If I get found, I'm going to die in real life. Like I was such in the mental headspace of playing this game. And oh man, it was brutal. And like you go in a hallway at one point where there's a crowd of people, like hospital workers not knowing what to do. Soldiers come in from the far end, start shooting through the bodies. People are dying and obviously protecting you who are further in. They come behind you, start shooting. Wow. And it's chewing up the people that are in front of you that way. And I'm just like, holy fuck. And you can't do anything but run or try to just get out of the way at that point. And I just was not ready for the intensity, just the absolute, just emotional intensity that game took me through. And then of course someone just is on, a fire being starts walking down the hallway towards you. And then the sprinklers come on and make him disappear. I'm like, okay, we're in Metal Gear land right now. This weird fire phantom spirit. Okay. All right. I get it. We're playing an anime, but like, dude, that shit hit a real moment. And I was like, damn, this is kind of not what I was ready for at all. And I was just blown away by the impact of that.
It definitely speaks to how, Kojima's evolved, as a game maker, and just using the camera like an actual hand cam throughout that whole scene. A lot of the times in that opening scene, you see him moving the camera around your character, showing you exactly what he wants you to see, right? Like he's always positioning the camera in a way that like makes you look at the destruction and like the terrifying nature of that like opening scene. And it's,
I mean, he's wanted to make movies his whole life, and he's good at that. He's good at that
Mhm.
kind of like perspective to kind of like drive a point that he wants to make. It was just, man,
It's a lot.
it's
Yeah,
a lot.
It's a lot. I
I'll-
remember when I first played it, and I was saying this in the pre-show that I didn't finish it, but like I was not prepared for that intro. That is the first Metal Gear game that I played besides the one for PlayStation 1.
Oh yeah, just the
And
first solid.
Just the first, yeah. And I was not prepared for it, and I was not in the same headspace that you were, so I can only imagine the amplification of it.
Dude.
Yeah, it's a wild ride for sure. And then it opens up into like the open-esque world, and it's just like the juxtaposition of
Dude,
both of them are just
I
like
know
so
it
jarring.
shifts so fast because like I escaped from the
It doesn't
hospital.
it doesn't hold that mood at all.
I almost get run over by a tank. I'm out there, literally dying, bleeding, and then next thing you know, I've got a cape around me and I'm riding a horse through Afghanistan, and it's
Right.
like, whoa, this I feel like I'm in an Indiana Jones movie. Okay, this
Yeah,
is
Exactly.
it's a fucking hard turn.
yeah,
It's a
real fucking hard, dude.
Yeah.
And then I had weapons at that point, so I was fine. I was like, oh, cool, I can just tranquilize this guy. Okay, cool. Now I'm playing a Metal Gear game.
Cool. Now you're Metal Gear. Yeah. I saw a tweet this
man.
week.
Can I?
Wait, hang on. I saw
Go
a
ahead.
tweet this week that was someone said, forget the Snyder cut. I want to see the Kojima cut of Metal Gear Solid 5 because infamously
yeah.
that game is not complete. It is missing a whole chapter, which is only available on like the special edition, like bonus features discs, where he shows off like what that game ends up, how it actually really finishes.
Oh,
Which I still
interesting.
have not watched to this day. This is the only piece of Metal Gear content besides the NES games that I have not completed. So I have no idea what's on it.
I'll have to go
Sorry, Felix.
check that out. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Felix?
All I was going to say is, and this is not the same game, but going back to what I'm playing, and maybe this is a trope of Japanese style games, but like I noticed there's a lot of juxtaposition, like in terms of like art styles and in terms of like mood shifts. Like quite frequently in Final Fantasy VII, I'm noticing that. I don't know if that's the game being victim of like coming from a different time period and being remade, and they wanted to keep it intact from when it was made, or if that's just a trope because this is the only game I've essentially ever played besides Death Stranding that was created by essentially Japanese in origin. You know what I mean? Like, although Death Stranding is a very Western game, right? You would put that in that category.
It's no.
There is a lot of Metal Gear in Death Stranding, but not like it's like in the menus and it's like
Okay.
in the feel and the filming of it, like the way they do like the cutscenes.
We could talk about this another week, but like I just noticed that, like I just noticed that they put two things next to each other so frequently that don't seem like they fit together, but for the design of the game they do. Is that
It could be.
accurate?
I mean, that's definitely that sounds like a writing prompt where someone would throw that out and then like they would take that and run with it. That's like a research prompt you just threw out there. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean like Kojima with Metal Gear, it has like a lot of, I don't want to say like a fetish, but he has like a military
He is a fetish.
It's-
He absolutely has a fetish
military
for
like fetish.
the American military system. Yes, 1000% he does.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. And he juxtaposes that with like
Can you
a
blame
lot
him?
of science fiction, a lot of like the eerie and the weird and mechs, right? That which is a very anime thing, right?
You can't
like,
really blame him. The
so-
American military system shaped his culture. Literally.
more or less.
I mean, yeah, that's
Metal
yeah,
Gear
that's one way to
Solid
put it.
2 to this day predicted a lot of what our current time period exists in. That game predicted like how internet and information would travel and the controlling of the flow of information. Like it's crazy how like that game still is like relevant even though it's like a 2001 game. Like damn.
Yeah, two
know.
flopped at first, but then people discovered it later and went, "Oh my god, this actually
Yeah,
slaps."
this game is great. Exactly. Speaking of slapping games, wants to slap some games off the
Oh.
digital storefronts.
There it is.
Okay.
I was
I was-
fucking wondering where we were going,
I
dude.
was not sure. I was not sure. I was about to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
I
about
did
to
it,
give up on
guys.
that.
I got kind of excited to see where it was going.
I saw you
to be honest with
like,
you.
oh, shit, he's doing it.
Slap some games off the digital storefront.
Wow.
Let's go.
Trip, you want to set us up for this one?
Yeah, our main point of discussion this week is going to be around the decision that as of this episode, right? This is Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. In a week, on the 31st of March, Nintendo's Mario 3D All-Stars game for the Switch, the compilation that has Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, they being Nintendo, are not going to be selling this game anymore. You will not be able to buy it in the digital store. They are stopping production of the discs. And that's it. It's also coinciding with the news, a rumored news that we're going to have an announcement soon from Sony saying that they are shutting down the PS3, PS Vita, and the PSP digital stores.
That's not rumored. The
That's not
store
rumored?
will close. Yeah, on July 2nd, the PS3 and PSP stores are closing, and the Vita storefront will shut down August 27th.
I was not able to find a link that said this is direct without rumors.
Sorry, it's the Polygon article that I posted here. I'm gonna put it in our chat here.
Okay.
So yeah, that they're closing down their digital storefronts. We actually talked
to the same source. I mean, it's probably legit, but this is it's an unnamed source article. It's unnamed source with people close to the familiar with the situation kind of thing. But
they didn't actually. I thought it was actually announced.
Yeah, no, you gotta trace back to the first one, the first guy. So it's unconfirmed officially, but the rumors are they're going to announce this soon, and then in July is when the shutdown would happen. That is, less surprising than Nintendo's move to limit the sale of literally a game that came out in this past 12 months, this console generation. But it speaks to some of the same underlying concerns people have with digital content and digital games. And today we're going to chat about what that means. What does that mean for owners of the game? What does that mean for people that don't own the game and want to get it? Is Nintendo, empowering scalpers with moves like this? How long should we preserve digital content? There's so much to this. And now that things are actually hitting the wall, we've got to kind of face how we feel about it, because decisions are being made by the people that run these situations, and we just have to live with it. So
this has been a real concern for a long time, not just like with what Nintendo's doing. Like, there are people like video game historians that will preserve the look and feel of a game because there's no other way to play it in its original state anymore, right? Like Atari games and those nature. But this move, like the move that Nintendo is going, hey, you have a limited window to buy this game and then goodbye. Yes, that promotes scalping of the game, and it also forces scarcity of the game almost. But the FOMO like reaction to it, like if you don't do this, then you're gonna miss out on this exclusive one of a kind collection of games. I bought it. I bought it when it came out last fall or whenever that came out.
We're not saying that you're,
because I was like, yeah, I want to play these games. I don't want to miss out on getting I bought it physically, right? Most of my Switch games I've been buying digitally recently because who's going to a GameStop right now? But like, I bought it physically because I wanted to make sure it was preserved, and I didn't have.
Who can go to GameStop when it's on the moon?
It's going to the moon. That earnings call, right?
We're not saying that people have a fear of their digital purchases that they purchased disappearing, right? Because that's also a major fear in the society of digital purchasing. Like people,
aka a fear of Felix Herka.
Yeah, there's people out there in the world who think that you could potentially lose a digital purchase that you purchased from anything because of licensing agreements not being locked in. That's why Movies Anywhere started. You know about Movies Anywhere, right? Have you guys signed up for that and everything and did all that? Oh, what you do is you essentially link Amazon and Disney and Apple and all these different companies that you purchased digital movies from, And the idea is these companies bonded together to reinforce the concept that purchasing rights are there, and you're not going to lose the content if somebody yanks it or whatever. Like I don't fully understand it all, but I linked it because it was recommended on the site that I do it.
when you're buying a game on a digital storefront, you're essentially buying the license for the ability to play it. You are not purchasing the ownership to, like, you don't own that game.
Right,
you are
right.
owning the ability to play that game. Go ahead, Trip.
To be fair, you're also doing that when you buy a hard copy. The difference is you just have a hard copy and you have the ability to have your system pull that data from your hard written copy.
Unless we're talking about a game like Destiny, which requires online access, which in the future could be shut down at some point, which is a total possibility at, in 20 whatever years or however long. Yeah, you're right. The physical copy is essentially the same thing, but as long as there's nothing online that's checking with a authentication for like a server or something, then you're usually good to go. You can play whatever game you want. And that's why I think a lot of like the pushback when, like, for example, Diablo 3 first came out, and people were really upset when Diablo 3 first came out because that game required you to have a BattleNet and required you to log into BattleNet servers in order to play it.
Still
Diablo
does.
2 could be played offline. Oh yeah, of course it still does. But Diablo 2, they had an online mode which you can connect to servers, but you could also play the game offline to your leisure. Which that was a huge, like, people were really upset about that. And lo and behold, the launch of Diablo 3 was a disaster. I don't know if you guys remember, there was errors. You couldn't log on. There was like a t-shirt made for the error code that everyone kept getting. I was one of those people up to like 4 a.m. trying to log into that game and play it. It was not great. It was not a great experience. And that was like the concern. Like, this is our future, is what people were saying at the time.
I lost the internet
even,
recently and discovered there was a game that I couldn't do that, and it was an offline game, and it said you're required the internet to play this, and I went, I can't remember what it was, but I don't know, but it was entirely a game.
No, I was going to say, like you're asking the game why do I need the internet to play this game?
Exactly.
I'm not playing against other people. Yeah,
it's so fucking weird. Like, I was just like, this makes no sense.
But getting back to the Nintendo decision here, there are people that think that this is just a move they're employing for their anniversary content, and they want it to be like a limited kind of celebration of these games. And like after Mario is done, they're going to move on to Zelda, and we're going to have that for a little bit, and then just kind of be this like cycle of specific anniversary related content that is gone just to celebrate for the moment. But are we okay at accepting that mentality, or do we think there's something else in play with why they're making this decision? Because if you take all that out, just from my personal perspective, you take out any kind of reasoning around like an event for this, which I still don't know if I agree with entirely. But if you just look at the decision that we're going to make something, have people work on this for years and years and years, and then yank it from the store so that people can't purchase this, I don't see where that benefits your business. Besides you planning on it driving up initial sales, I don't see how that benefits you over just like long-term purchasing power of this game, as more and more people like get Switches later or down the road and have, I can play Mario 64 on this now. Like, you'd have people buying this forever, and I still understand from a business perspective why you limit that access.
Nintendo specifically really values their IPs to like this really high regard, right? Like, they don't let you treat IPs with respect, or disrespect. They don't even like the fact that Smash Brothers is competitive because they want it to be like this fun experience. They really want to control the experience that you have when you're playing a Nintendo game. They want it to be, they care almost as much as like Disney does about their image, the image of their IPs and their characters. And when they think the value of something is that high, they know people will go for this limited time like purchase and almost treat it like like they're treating it like a special event, and they know that this is a special thing for a lot of people. And I don't think to me it doesn't justify the way they like withhold sales to something after a certain time period. Like that to me, it just says that you're telling us your thing is special. You're not letting us decide it's special, right? Like these are special because we grew up with them and we want to play these games again. They withhold their libraries for years, man. Like they don't release anything. Yeah, sorry, Locke. Were you gonna jump in?
No. You're making extremely valid points. It honestly, it makes me sick that this is even a thing. It truly does. It really like it's sickening that it's a thing. It's honestly, it's disgusting that you felt obligated to buy the game because you didn't want to miss out on it later. Like, because you would have bought it anyway, right? Like you probably would have purchased it if it existed forever. But the fact that you had even an inkling of a feeling that you needed to buy it because it wasn't going to exist later is absolutely disgusting. Like I honestly, I feel so passionately about this that I would like them to go bankrupt for a decision like this. I really would. I really would. I don't care how much all of you love a Switch. A decision like this is truly disgusting. The fact that they can release a game and say you only have so much time to buy it and then it's gone is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's not a collector's edition. It's not a fucking stupid canvas bag that you get with Fallout 76. It's not a statue that you get. It's not any of these things. It's literally the game itself. And you're telling me that you can only produce it and sell it for a limited time is utter bullshit. And I think you mentioned this on the pre-show that if you have a code, you can download it after. Those codes are going to go for hundreds upon hundreds of dollars once this game gets pulled, and someone's going to buy it. Someone's going to spend that money.
Yeah. The fact that a code exists tells me that you are able to download the game from their servers before owning the game, because a code implies that you haven't tied that game to your account in an ownership standpoint yet. So you then tell Nintendo, hey, I want to get this game. I have this code that was just written down on this piece of paper before March 31st. So this is now my pass into this club. Open the gate. Oh, you have it behind the gate. Cool. Open the gate and let me get it. But no one else can get it. And that's just mind-boggling to me. Because no one I'm just going to repeat myself from earlier. Go ahead, Neo.
Sorry. I'm going to predict that at some point in the future, they will split these games up from their collection and sell them individually for probably the full price of the game, because that is also how Nintendo rolls. We're getting Skyward Sword this year, a game that came out on the Wii, like, I don't know, like 8 to 10 years ago. I don't remember whenever Skyward Sword came out. That is a full price release on the Switch. An older game. They do this constantly with Switch games. Mario Bros. U, like 3D World, that was $60. The game I've been playing the past 2 weeks, $60. All these games that they release, these re-releases, these aren't new releases. They believe fully that their games retain their value, and they've done this since the Wii and probably before, where they don't even like dropping the price of their games, and the sales of their games are so infrequent that they also believe that their games retain their value this high.
Yeah,
this is a normal trend with Nintendo. Sorry, go ahead.
And no, I was gonna say, and I don't like paying full price for a game that came out 10 years ago is a hard pill to swallow, but I think we'll all swallow it. I think it is so far disconnected from saying we're going to release a game and you only have X amount of time to buy it before it doesn't exist anymore. Like this isn't a Supreme drop. This isn't like a pair of Yeezys. Like what the fuck are you doing? Like,
dude, the Mario 3D All-Stars NFT is what you're buying, essentially. And
Locke, is it beyond us to think that maybe they just see themselves as easy?
I mean,
Nintendo
sure, maybe. Switches are selling like you wouldn't believe.
Well, look at the fucking happened during the pandemic. Why wouldn't they think it?
But they do understand that their IP is in the top echelon of games, of all-time games. Their IP is up there and will always be up there, because gamers as a whole, no matter what, there were no camps then. This is what you played, really. Everyone played Nintendo in some form of fashion, whether you were on a handheld or you were on a console. Even if you played Sega, you probably had a Game Boy, right? More than likely, you've played a Nintendo game and you are tied to the IP in some fashion, and they understand that. And it's fine for them to exploit it to a certain extent. And I think to the certain extent is what Neo said, where we pay full price for a game that we paid full price for 10 years ago, and we will gladly pay it again because we want to play it again. But I think the stretch going to what we just experienced with them creating a time gap into when you can buy the game, and then going even further to allow people to download it after with a code, which absolutely encourages scalping, is just a shitty decision. It's just a bad fucking decision all around. Like for me, that's like an unforgivable thing, to be perfectly honest. But it's yeah. What we're gonna say, Trip?
It's another thing that doesn't make any sense is, you know, them being a company, a retailer, people that make things, entertainment for the purpose of other people to be entertained. I'm sure they have data from every single one of their game releases that they can pull up in a moment's notice, because we can do that on the internet. I can see exactly how much something sold and how much money it made. You'd think they'd be able to look at that and go, no matter what, our games and products are going to fly off the shelves. They're going to, and we know this is an absolute fact. So maybe this was an experiment for them to look at this decision and say, let's limit this for a little bit and see how it impacts the sale of this thing. But still, it's Nintendo having the answer in front of them and then closing their eyes and picking a solution out of a hat, seemingly, to do something different for, I don't know, the sake of them being Nintendo. Because it's not the same conversation. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but like how they've handled online interactions for years, you know, like the answers for better systems are there and obvious to Nintendo. They just refuse not to. In this situation, they know that they could sell games for years and years and years, and there would be trickle sales of this game for years and years and years. So to me, as an outside perspective, they're shooting themselves in the foot monetarily, and I don't understand what they think their gain is, unless they think they're going to make so much more in forced limited sales to outweigh that. But I think that's impossible.
Well, maybe they don't think they're making money. Maybe they're thinking they're earning brand worship.
But they don't need them any more brand worship.
I believe honestly, it's them maintaining the value over their IP. Like this is so valuable that we can do this. Like, I mean, the way I'm saying it sounds really stupid. No,
it does make sense. But I mean, and to me, that just says that they're willing to lose out on money to make the statement. And do we think that's where they're at?
Just because you can does not mean you should, right?
Yeah.
Like, just because they could do this, clearly they could because people bought it, does not mean that they should do this. Like it's a poor decision to do.
Here's the thing. I know Switches have been selling like hotcakes the past year, but like little Timmy gets one this July for his birthday, right? Because he's old enough now to own a little console for himself. He can't play this Mario game. This Mario game is no longer on sale. He can't enjoy Mario 64 like Daddy did back in the day, right? Like,
what if he doesn't want to? What if he hates his father?
Who grew up with it and wasn't able to afford one until now, and now is excited to get a Switch and can't relive their own memories? There's so many examples. Right. There's so many examples.
Just go to the secondary market and buy your Yeezys, bro. There's Yeezys on the secondary market. Go to StockX. I'm sure StockX will have fucking Mario codes now because that's the world we fucking live in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck Timmy and his Switch. He doesn't get to play that game.
I remember I went to New York and I toured in Times Square, or they're not all in Times Square, but in the general area of Midtown. I went to the Nintendo store, the Microsoft store, and the Sony
Nintendo store.
So the Nintendo store, I think we went to second. We went to Microsoft store first. We stopped in the Microsoft store, and it was moderately crowded. There were some people there. You know, there was definitely a crowd around the Xbox area, and there were people like doing Dance Dance Revolution type shit and having a fun time. Then the second store we went to was the Nintendo store, and you couldn't fucking get into the place. Like it looked like a club, and that they needed a fucking, a big velvet rope going down the street in order to like manage the traffic of fucking people coming in and out of there. Many of them were kids, but many of them were grown-ass fucking human adults who were just there enjoying themselves. Like in Glee. It's so weird, right? Then we left, We went to the fucking Sony store. Oh my god, it was a fucking ghost town with like one dude. It looked like a guy who was working the host stand at fucking TGI Fridays, trying to figure out why the fuck nobody's here in the middle of a Saturday. Like,
Dude, this is completely off topic, but you said TGI Fridays, and I can't wait to vibe in a TGI Fridays again. But continue.
But
Continue.
yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying that's the experience I got from in the Times Square Midtown area of how these brands are vibing to like the fan bases and Nintendo. And this wasn't that long ago. This would have been like, I can't remember when I took those photos and went there. It was like 2000. It's definitely when we were doing the show. I think it was 2014 or 15. And
Nintendo
like,
is crazy, man.
it's
Like
crazy.
they have Pokemon,
I don't
which is
know
also
if that
one of the
is a
biggest.
point.
It is. I mean, it speaks to how Nintendo knows their worth. They know their value. They know people are asking for Mother 3 to be imported to America and playable on a modern console. But don't worry about it. It's a
I
long
don't even
running.
know what it is. He saw my face. He's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I saw your face.
Oh my
But it's a
God.
thing. Like Mother 3 is a game that people love, and they won't release it for like an audience, modern audience. They do this all the time. People want more Metroid. I know we're getting a Metroid eventually at some point, but like they have all these beloved properties that in general, this Mario game aside, that they won't release on their modern consoles. And that is also an issue of maintaining these games that are beloved across multiple generations of consoles. Part of the reason why PCs are so great are I can play my Quake 3 copy from like whenever Quake 3 came out. Like I can play that today, and that's great. If I can segue slightly to the Sony issue, but Felix, did you have something to say?
Yeah, just one other thing. You know, they're not the
Go
first to
ahead.
do this shit. And the other company has their same kind of like weird mania with their fan base. Fucking
Which one?
Disney with their goddamn vault for their fucking
Oh yeah, they got a
children's
vault.
films.
Oh yeah.
Like they did it for years. They put the fucking games into a vault, then they pull it out. They're just following the fucking
I was
Disney.
gonna say because you
Disney
mentioned Disney,
playbook.
I think earlier, Neo, about just like a brand concept kind of thing, and the value of a brand. And I was going to mention the vault. I'm glad Felix brought it up. Yeah, they would put their movies away into a vault, and they wouldn't sell them. But here's the thing:
now they're
the
doing it with-
understanding was always that they would come out at some point.
Right.
Not great, but they would say, "Come on."
But thankfully, Disney is doing Disney Plus now, which they're actually kind of doing pretty good with releasing all of these crazy. Go ahead.
Felix,
I
No.
went and looked for fucking Pirates of the Caribbean movies, okay? They got 1, they got 2, they got 3, they got 5, and 4 is in their little now Disney Plus bullshit vault. So I can't watch
so there's-
4.
You're telling me there's a Disney Plus vault?
There's a Disney Plus period of time, and they're not the only ones doing this. HBO Max is doing it too, but they rotate out certain titles. You can't
That's
find
madness.
because was like, maybe I'll watch all the Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm like, why is 4 not in here? And Mrs. Felix was like, yeah, I don't know why 4 isn't in here. I'm like, they're rotating shit. So I looked up an article, and sure enough, I found out there's a collection of Disney movies that get rotated out periodically. They're doing the same shit. It's a digital vault. Stab this in my fucking brain.
Wow. So Sony is rumored to be doing something very similar. A report was published, rumored report, that they are closing down the PS3, PSP, and Vita stores this year at some point. That means that you will lose access to, I'm going to use this as an example because Metal Gear Solid 4 is the only system that you can play this game on is the PS3. You cannot play it on any other console. Emulation of the PS3 is not great because of the cell processor. PCs have a very hard time emulating that technology. So now you run into the issue where this game could be lost forever unless you have a hard copy of this game or a working PS3. You lose access to PSP games. That was a major system at the time. That was a high-selling system, and now you got a UMD or are you screwed? Like that's like where you're at with that. And of course the Vita, which is I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Vita other than they tried really hard, and
I love the Vita.
They tried really hard.
they tried really. I mean, it's a good
People
like
didn't
it's a good
appreciate it.
handheld. It's a good handheld, but it didn't get the support and love that it needed to succeed, which is unfortunate.
It's kind of wild that it didn't, because like
it is right behind me.
like every game that I played on that was so innovative for its time, like control scheme wise. The entire back was a touch panel, and like Uncharted on the Vita, you had to like clean off your artifacts, literally spin them around with the back, clean them off with the front. It was a cool little like addition, a cool little like dimensionality to the game. But you know, whatever. I digress.
The Vita would have succeeded. The Vita would have succeeded if they did what the Switch did and had the two triggers at the top. You know, like the dual, like the trigger and the bumper. I feel like it would have been a lot easier to make games that felt like a PlayStation game.
True.
The controllers would have
very
been a little bit easier.
Yeah. To be honest, when I heard about the Sony news, it didn't hit me as hard because it kind of made sense, right? Like these are all older generation consoles by a couple generations, and we should expect that those stores are going to go offline eventually, right? But I didn't think about the fact about the Metal Gear Solid 4. That's the only console that's on, and that made me think about the Metal Gear collection that was up until 4, because that gave you Metal Gear 4 on a disc. It gave you a couple other bits of games. I forget which ones specifically on the second disc, but a lot of those were downloads.
Yeah.
You had to download your games, like Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2. I think even Metal Gear Solid was a download, and those were not packaged in the thing. You had to put the code in and get those games. So if you haven't downloaded them, those will 1000%, like half of your collection will be inaccessible, even
Also,
if you bought it hard copy.
Consider this, Trip and company. The PS3 was the first digital generation console. The PS2, but no digital storefronts. The PS3 was the first console that offered a online storefront. That's a whole generation just going offline. Like the ability to purchase that generation's games for a console that existed. Yes, it's aged out. Like we're 2 generations removed from the PS3 now at this point. But like that is literally like history turning off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a shame to me. You know
What generation was PT? What was that?
PS4.
Oh, that is PS4. Okay.
Yeah. It does hit a little bit harder, the Sony news, because of Sony's reluctance for backwards compatibility in their consoles. Like if Sony allowed you to play your old games more easily on their newer generations, then it wouldn't be as big of an issue. But there are games that will be locked permanently on the PS3 because Sony doesn't include a feasible backwards compatibility method. And that's another tough pill to swallow.
It's funny. I have a quote here from Jim Ryan, who's one of the executives of Sony. He literally says, "We've dabbled in backwards compatibility, but like, why would anyone want to play these old games?" Like that is like literally a quote that he has said before.
I believe he was looking at like a Gran Turismo game and saying, "Why would anyone want to play this?" And it's like, sure, like games improve with time and get better, but I can't believe anyone would ever make that statement. Fully legitimately believing that. Yeah.
Like, don't go and play fucking arcade games. Why would you play an arcade game now? And when there's VR,
like, why would you play Metal Slug? You can just, there are things that are full 3D shooters now. Why would you? Why
are people like still trying to get high scores in Donkey Kong? Fucking idiots. What?
That's exactly how it comes off. That's the vibe right there.
Tell that to Billy Mitchell.
So do we know if this were to happen hypothetically? Let's say my PS3 dies, right? And I, for some reason, really love my PS3 and I decide to buy one off of eBay. When the store goes down, I won't be able to re-download my titles. Will I?
Right. No, you won't. Well, as far as we know. But remember, this is a rumored report, so we don't have details. Maybe they're going to keep something active for like ownership versus buying. Could be a possibility. Right. But I would assume that if they're shutting that down, then that would include download access. So that's what I'm working off of. So yeah, that would spark some upsetment from me personally.
No, me too. I mean, I wouldn't be in that situation. I don't own anything digitally for PlayStation 3. Everything that I still have Felix's OG PS3 that I bought off of him, that I will use as a backwards compatibility machine, hopefully for when my son wants to play PlayStation 1 discs. But that would upset me too. It's fine for the store to go down, in my opinion. It's fine for them to say you can no longer purchase titles for PS3. But it is not fine to stop someone from gaining access to the titles that they have already purchased for one way or the other, right? Whether it be hardware failure or a corrupt save file or whatever, right? I should be able to go and access this game that I purchased regardless if you take the storefront down. So that will be an important asterisk that we will need to understand when this does officially come out from Sony.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna reach a point where this is gonna be very important to preserve these generations of games and systems, especially since we're becoming so digitized over time. Like even with like Nintendo pulling their shenanigans, like there is going to be need for some way to preserve these things. And I know there are people and organizations out there that are doing these sorts of things. Like there are museums, like literally with the goal of maintaining the original feel and the way these games used to feel at their release, like in arcade or on console. Like it doesn't matter. Like they maintain all sorts of the games, and it's nice.
Yeah.
That we need that. Like otherwise they'll get lost to history. Like imagine if like films from like 40 years ago were like all of a sudden like, sorry, we're now working in HD, so you can't download these old CRT or I don't know, like black and white movies again. Like that's what it feels like to me. It feels
CRT
like it's
was
like,
a bad example.
Oh, you can't watch Gone with the Wind anymore because sorry, we're in HD land now. Like, go ahead.
No, I mean you're that's exactly what fucking happened. You can't watch the CRT. You can't do that anymore. It doesn't exist. No, I'm saying that disproves your point. That's exactly what happens with film.
And that's a problem too.
Until they
100%
remaster it for the new medium. Yeah, it happens. Fucking
the
sucks.
HD angle is another really interesting one, and I want to give credit to our correspondent Kevin Oates for bringing this point up. Since the PS3 is really the only place where the PS1 classic brand lived, like this store, the reason these stores are all tied together is because the Vita, the PSP, and the PlayStation 3 all use this type of digital content that's labeled PS1 classics, and these digital files can be played on all of those consoles together. So they share this technology, and it's the only place to play these digital games, which also means it's the only console generation that can plug into a modern TV via HDMI with a smooth signal and play games from the PlayStation 1 era. Outside of conversion hardware for an HDMI signal from an analog signal, which is dumb expensive.
Or games that were re-released in the PS4 store, because there's a lot that were.
Right, yeah. But if the ones that haven't, it's the only way.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned this. I went to hook up. I have a PS1 Mini, and I went to hook it up, and I can't because my TV doesn't have ports for it. So like my wife loves Crash Team Racing. It's like her favorite game. It's the only game she actually plays. So she had the urge to play it. So she's like, "Go find the PlayStation," and I was like, "All right, cool, let's do it." And I went and got it, and I looked at it, and I was like, I know they've re-released it for PS. I know there's a re-release, but anyway,
there is.
I didn't.
But no. Wait, what I was going to bring up is I have a converter box that converts composite signal to HDMI. So that is
sure, you could definitely buy it, right?
Yeah.
But in the moment, like, I want to go play this. I can't play it because my TV did not include that into its configuration. It's HDMI only.
Yeah, that's not the kind of thing where you go, oh, you know what? Well, let's just go to Best Buy and pick this up. Then we'll, then we'll come back and we'll still want to do this after all that extra work. That's just
it's over. It's over. Yeah. Like I looked and I was like, oh, let me buy this off of Amazon. I found it. It exists. And then it was like, okay, the moment's over. I'm not going to spend the money on it now. And then when the moment comes again, I'm not going to have the thing again.
Right.
But I'll probably just buy the new one on PS4 and play the PlayStation 4 version instead. But You make a really valid point, Trip. I didn't necessarily think of that the PS3 is the only modern method that can currently hook up to modern TVs without without having to worry about some of these
for
things.
Streaming, it's great. It's like literally a tool. It's like a tool, because it's the only thing you can play this content on. But even just for the casual person who likes to play comfortably in their living room setup, it's the only way to do it with a smooth signal.
Yeah, it's funny. There's reading the comments on this article, going through and reading people's responses. The one on Polygon, someone wrote that like, my PS3 is my Metal Gear and JRPG machine. That's what I game. That's what I use it for. Is for JRPGs and Metal Gear. And like
My PS3 literally is for my legacy collection of Metal Gear.
Yeah, and he said like he's concerned when his PlayStation dies. That's why I brought it up, because the same poster made the point. Like, if my PlayStation dies, I will make sure that I find another one. But will I be able to access these titles if my PlayStation does die and I do find another one? Am I going to be, or does he need to go find one now, buy it, sign in, download all of his games, and then have one back up in the closet? Right. So it's interesting. It's a really interesting take, because this is, I think, the first time that we're seeing this type of shift for something that still seems modern, even though it's not. Like, it's this weird step where we're straddling two different eras of gaming at this point with the PS3.
I'm pretty
Neo
sure.
said this is.
Go ahead.
Just saying, like Neo said before, this is the first console with a full digital storefront, and now we witnessed the birth and now the death of that, and this is the first time it's happening, and we're just gonna have like a spiral and a spiral of this moment, unless there's a better and more permanent solution figured out. Potentially across industries, to preserve this kind of stuff regardless of media going forward. I know it's not a perfect analogy, but like in a contract, right? In a legal contract, for no matter what thing you need a contract for, they put language in there that says like, you can do this thing for the contract, on all platforms currently accessible or devised in the future. Like, there's contract language to think about the future of things. I think games need to kind of have that perspective for their content, because otherwise they're going to run into this again, where you can't play the thing that you spent money on.
Is the 360 store still like up and running?
I believe so.
Last I checked.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, because I
look it up. I'm gonna pull it up.
I saw
Felix, you were going to say something, yeah?
Oh, well, that's irrelevant. I still do play one game on a pretty regular basis on that 360, which is still down there, and you guys know the title.
Is it the Saboteur?
Oh, yes, it is, baby. The Saboteur.
I think the Saboteur is in Game Pass.
No.
That game needs to be preserved.
No.
Preserve it with all.
Yeah, I'm going to open it up
Don't
right now.
say that. And then I don't need my 360 anymore?
Well, who knows, man? What if they shut the store down? And what if then that game goes in the Game Pass vault? Then what are you going to do?
I'm not getting rid of the game or the 360. It's right fucking down there.
What are you going to do? Dude?
Keeping it, baby. Keeping that shit.
The 360 store is indeed online.
Still online. Okay. I was just curious, because
I definitely know that, because I just did updates through it. That was crazy, man.
As a part of EA Play, the Saboteur is in Game Pass.
Woo!
And it's playable on PC.
Dude,
Are you
I am
The Saboteur.
totally
Yeah,
fucking
I'm looking at it right now.
Very
EA,
excited.
it's
I know this
play
is
with
like
Game Pass.
this is like a meme for our show specifically, but I actually have never looked at screenshots of the Saboteur. So for the first time, I'm going
It
to
just looks like Assassin's Creed.
Felix, I'll have you know, I played beat that game when it came out.
It's a beautiful game.
I'm very familiar with the Saboteur.
What's really funny is after our episode where we talked about Game Pass, I went and looked at all the games, and I remember seeing this.
Oh, this looks better than I thought it would.
I remember seeing it and like thinking, "Oh man, I got to let Felix know," and then obviously forgot So I'm really glad that this just came up because I when I was scrolling through all games and I saw the
Dude, I'm
Saboteur
keeping
come
this
up, I was like,
goddamn
oh my God.
360 down here because of fucking the Saboteur, and now you're telling me it's in fucking EA's Game Pass? I thought they shit all over it. I thought they took a dump
No.
on it and said, fuck that
It's-
game.
It's here.
Man,
It's
did
here.
not
I mean,
take a
that's
dump.
fucking
I can't tell you how well it'll play on PC, but it's
Also,
playable on PC apparently.
Do you think that my cloud saves that were on the 360 will show up on my...
No, now you're asking. for too
You're
much.
asking so much.
That's,
Oh
oof,
my
oof.
God.
Can I
Take it down a
continue
notch,
my
bro. Oh
save
my
from
God.
2010? Can I continue it 11 years later?
It's a miracle you have a digital Saboteur. Don't start trying to have cloud save integration.
I'm
into
like,
this
like, fuck you! I just learned I could do this 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, you never know until you boot it up. You don't know.
Doing it tonight. It's already done.
You don't know.
It's
I
happening,
would
people.
I would err on the side of absolutely not. But if yes, then that's a pleasant surprise for yourself. You get 2 surprises in one night. You get Saboteur, which you didn't know existed, and you get your save file. So
you
you're
can't
winning.
beat that, man. 2 surprises.
Only because
Surprises are thin
only,
nowadays.
only because I glanced at the chat, and because I know there might be people out there wondering what the Saboteur is. It came
Felix,
out
we
in 2000.
don't acknowledge the chat. It's not
I know
real.
I know we don't. But
We have to
I'm,
do it in
I'm
roundabout
thinking of the
ways.
pe- I'm
Don't say
thinking
that
of
word.
people are out in the world. So the Saboteur.
But for those listening, we
Yes.
do record live on Twitch every Wednesday.
Yes,
the
we
only
do.
way to say it is to segue to the advertisement.
In 2009, they came out with this game called the Saboteur that not for the world, but for me predated Assassin's Creed, and essentially has the same kind of open world design. You climb things and everything like that, except you are an Irish revolutionary in 1938 Paris after the Nazi occupation, and your goal is to fucking blow up Nazis all the time, and it's amazing. Like, it's one of my favorite
One
games.
cool thing,
Pretty good
the
sell.
cool thing about it is that the whole world's in black and white.
It starts in
and
black
as
and
you
white,
liberate- Yeah, as you liberate France or Paris or whatever, it becomes more colorful, and like you push the Nazi occupation
Yeah,
back.
the
It's pretty
only
cool.
color in the black and white areas of the game when you're going in to like take out Nazis is the flags. So it's like there's red and shit all over the place, and you know that's the people you need to kill, because and the minute you liberate an area, next thing you know, it's all in color. All the people come in color. It's fucking so cool. Love that fucking game, man.
It was a good game. It was a good game.
The number one feature on the game store about this is first ever open world Paris. So that's
Whoa.
That is true. That is true.
that's how you know.
What?
Climb the Eiffel Tower. Snipe
Yeah.
from Notre Dame Cathedral.
Yep.
And brawl as you
And Notre Dame
sabotage
Cathedral
enemies.
doesn't even exist anymore, bro. You get to climb it and shoot Nazis from it. It's so cool.
There you go.
That does
Listen,
sound like a fantasy.
All I'm saying is you should download it and you should experience it, but make sure you play more Final Fantasy VII before next week.
I'm doing
okay?
that.
Yes, 'cause
No,
what-
that's
what
my
I
don't-
that's
what-
my priority.
What I don't want to hear of is more Saboteur.
I
next
started
week, if I'm
playing
being honest.
Saboteur. Never went back to
being-
that Final Fantasy shit.
I'm just saying. I just want to
No,
throw that out there now.
dude, I am in it with Final Fantasy.
Okay,
I'm not putting
all right,
that
good.
shit down.
Good.
Well, boys, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this bad boy.
I would agree.
Thank you all for listening. I've been Neo Ayoshi. You can follow me at twitch.tv/Neo_Ayoshi, twitter.com/Neo_Ayoshi. Did I say that right? I don't remember anymore. I'm Neo Ayoshi. Find me on those platforms. This Friday, I will be streaming Monster Hunter Rise. So I'm coming back to stream, and that's happening. Also, I am planning, I didn't tell you guys this, but I ordered keyboard lube, and I ordered new keycaps, and I ordered a few other switches. So
Keyboard loop triggered some questionable gifts in our Discord. So, doing that. If you
Locke knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to be lubing the keycaps of this keyboard here, and I am getting the GMMK Pro. That's on its way. And I will be doing multiple streams of me just hanging out and building and constructing these things and just lubing some keycaps. So stay tuned for that. Trip 0.
Guys, thank you as always for listening. I am Trip Zero. You can find me on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Trip0TV. And all my socials are also Trip0TV, so it's very easy to find. I'm playing Stardew Valley, and I'm in the middle of a 100% run, very close to finishing that up. The streams have been so fun and so chill and just a great vibe. So come hang out if you want to see some farming fun as I get closer to doing literally everything in that game and unlocking the true extra stuff, because there is some secrets that I don't even know about once you 100% it. So it's exciting. It's a good time. Come hang. Lock.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at lock_key. I mentioned the last time that I was on the episode. I can't even remember if that was last week or 2 weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago. Or I don't even know anymore. That I was going to go live soon. I've been messing around and trying to get my setup situated. So I'm not ready to go live yet, but when I do start streaming again, I will definitely tweet it out. So just make sure that you follow me on Twitter at lock_key. Felix.
Yeah, this is Felix Hergood at Felix Hergood on Twitter. At me. I always respond to ats. And then
Jesus Christ. Here it comes.
What? What kind of sentence is that, dude?
He said, "Come at me, bros."
Come at me, bro. Twitch.tv/Felix Hergood if you want to catch my Twitch channel. I'll be back soon. Oh, I can't even stop.
If you want to catch it, there ain't much to catch right now, but you can catch it.
Maybe I'll be
literally. You just sounded like some boomer trying to explain Facebook to another boomer. just at me. I'll always respond to ads.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
always. Never miss an ad.
God damn. Shit, man.
Oh, well,
Wrap it up. All right, we'll see you next week, everybody.
See you, dudes.
bye.